All right, how's that looking for you so far? You got your calculations in there? I've got my total row there, got the total for each month, and I've got my total column in there, my total for each bill, as well as a grand total for all the bills for all the months, 5,125. Now, if you're using your own numbers, great. Just be aware of that. Don't try to compare it against mine. If you're using my exact numbers, make sure everything's looking good in there. If I got something wrong, right, let me know, right? Let me know. Jump into the Q&A section. Let me know I got one of them wrong, but I think these are looking pretty good right now. All right, so I want to take this idea of cell references and formulas a step further. We're going to do a couple things here, but the topic that we're going to get into is a difference between our two reference types, because we actually have two different types of ways or methods that we can use to reference cells inside of an Excel worksheet. We have what's called relative and absolute. So the first one, a relative reference, versus the second one is an absolute reference, or I've also heard it called a fixed reference. All right, so what's the difference? Well, let's go ahead and delete out the formulas that you just created. I'm going to delete them all except the first one, the January total. So let's delete out all that hard work you just did, right? All that work, I'm sorry. All right, but I'm going to show you even simpler ways to do this. But again, building these key concepts. So our first formula, if I give that one a double click, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cell references in there. B4 through B8, right? And we're just adding them up, giving us a total, a sum. Now, these reference types, these are called a relative reference. Now, what does that actually mean? What's a relative reference? Well, I'm going to hit my escape key here just to close that out. A relative reference means from this location, you're going to get cells 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to get these 5 cells right here, right? Double click. It's B4, B5, B6, B7, B8. Those 5 cells from that location. Now, let's take this a step further. What if I now want to get February, right? Right here, I want to get February's total, but this time, instead of the B cells, it should sum up the C cells. Okay? Well, what if I do this? What if I go to my 1675, which is my total for the B column, I copy, Control C, I copy that, I go over to the C9, and I paste it in. Control V. Look at that. Now I've got my total for February. Well, how did it do that? How did it know which cells to sum up? Well, it knew because it was a relative reference. The formula is the same. If I give it a double click, we still got the equal sign, we still got the plus signs, but the column changed. It's now C4, C5, C6, C7, C8. Before, it was the B column. So now we're just saying copy that from here to here. And now from this location, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells up. And let's add up those cells. Let's try it again. I'm going to copy this one, Control C, hop over to the empty cell for March, Control V for paste, and I'll paste that in. Now I've got my 1750 for the D column. So all we're doing here is literally just copying and pasting the formula from one location to another. It performs the same formula, but relative to its location. 5 cells up, 5 cells up, 5 cells up. What if I did this? What if I hop over here and I do 10, 10, 10. I'm just typing in some 10s. Oops. 10. And I come back here, I say copy, Control C, hop over here. I'm going to paste it in. What do you think is going to happen? Control V, paste. There's my 50. I'm just in a new location, new cell, right? But it's always 5 cells up. That's a relative reference. Or whatever direction, right? What if I did that over here? What if I go to the E column and I say equals, what is it? B4 plus C4 plus, D4. Right, so now I'm in this cell, but now I'm going 3 cells to the left. And I'm going to add those up. So I hit my enter key, there's my 3000. But I'm just going to copy, hop down a cell, paste it in. There's my 350. 125 plus 125 is 250 plus 100. Oh, excuse me. 250 plus, yeah, that's right. 125, 125, 250 plus 100, 350. Just paste it in. Now it's in the 5th row as opposed to the 4th row. And I can do that again. Copy, paste, 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 paste. Relative references, huge, huge, right? You've got consistency in the layout of your document. It's always 3 rows to the left. It's always 5 rows up, whatever it is. You create one and you just copy that to its new location. 5 rows up, 3 rows to the left. Done, right? Save you so much time. And this is relative references. Let me hit my escape key. That's going to get rid of the little marquee, the marching ants. I'm going to delete these back out. All right, now remember I mentioned that there's 2 different types of references. That was relative, and that's what we got by default. But you also have what's called an absolute reference. Let's take a look at that one. So I've got my formulas back in there, got my totals back in there. I'm going to hop over to the F column, it's F3, and I'm going to type in %. There we go, hit my enter key. So now what I want to do here is I want to perform a calculation. We're going to do some division here that'll tell me what percentage each of my bills is of my grand total. I want to know what's 3,000 of 5,125. What's 350 of 5,125, and so on. All right, so now for this one, still a formula. Remember, you start all your formulas with the same character. So I'll say equals, and I'm going to say E4. This time I'm actually just going to click on E4. Look at that, it puts it in there for me. So equals E4, divide, and I'm going to use the backslash as the division character, and then I'm going to go grab E9. So I'm taking E4, and I'm going to divide that with E9. Backslash, forward slash. I said backslash, didn't I? So looking at your number pad, right? That's actually your forward slash. So you want to use the one off your number pad. If you don't have a full number pad, then you're going to look at your keyboard and it is with the question mark key. Okay? Look for that one. So we want that slash right there. That's your forward slash, right? Backslash, forward slash. We want the forward slash. So E4, divide that by E9. I'm going to hit my enter key. All right. So didn't give me exactly what I'm looking for, but it gave me a percentage. It's a decimal percentage. So roughly 58%. Ouch. 58% of my grand total goes to rent. All right. Now, what type of reference is this? I give that a double click. E4, E9, these are relative references. Now, I want to do that exact same thing, but for phone. And then I want to do it for credit card. And then I want to do it for food and so on. Well, I jump up, I grab that formula, I copy, Control C, I drop down a cell. Now I want to get 350 and divide that by 5,125. So I copy the previous one. I'm going to paste it in, Control V. Ooh, what's that? Pound div slash 0 exclamation mark. What went wrong? Well, I'm going to drop down to the next cell. I'm going to paste it in here. That's not working. What's going on? Well, remember, there's 2 different types of references. Here, we're using a relative reference. So it says, okay, from this spot, right, from F4, we're going to go 1 cell to the left. That's E4. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells down, and we're going to divide with E9. All right, good. That works. Roughly 58% for rent. So now I copied that down, and I got an error. Let's give that a double click. All right, what's going on here? So from this location, remember relative, from this location, we went 1 cell to the left. That's great. And then we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cells down. Because the first one went 5 cells, right? So when we copied it down, it still went 5 cells. That's not right. What's this one doing? This one still went 5 cells down to E11. Okay, relative reference. From that location, do this. Well, this time, we need it to go 1 cell to the left, but then always go to E9. That should not change. So this is where the absolute reference comes into play. I'm going to go back to my first formula, and I'm going to make a change to the E9 reference. I'm going to make it an absolute. So I'm going to put a $sign before the column reference E, and I'm going to put a $sign before the row reference 9. That makes E9, that cell, absolute. So I hit my enter key, still got my 58% there. I'm just going to copy that, Control C, and I'll paste it in. There we have it. There's my 100%. So we got roughly 58% for rent, roughly 6% for phone, 10% for credit card, 18% for food, and 6% for candy, with a grand total of 100%. Now, each of these formulas is now referencing E9. There it is, E9. It will always be E9. You copy that formula anywhere, doesn't matter where. I take that, I copy it over here somewhere. Let's not put it behind my head. Let's put it up there. I got a 0 because it's not doing much math for me, but it's still E9. Over 1 cell, hit E9. Over 1 cell, hit E9, and so on. So you got relative references, really just based on its position. It's going to move in a specific direction, so many cells. And you got absolute references that absolutely reference this cell. And remember the $signs. $E, $9. You got your absolute reference. So again, just like every time, practice. Try this out. Jump into your own version, create a percent column. Make sure you got all the other formulas in there because you're going to need those. And then create your percent and find out what percentage each bill is of your grand total. And remember, to streamline it, make the absolute reference. Copy paste.